What's up? This should be the last video I do about this subject until I actually seen the movie. But to explain real quickly, the number one reviews I'm actually waiting for, they're not people I trust, but I'll explain that as I go. But it's usually the ones that give you a more of a good scenario of what you're walking into. And that's when, people like, I don't really know their name, like Christian Hartman or something, and then Jeremy, who's an idiot, and also Adam Does Movies. Kind of gives you a good scenario of what you're walking into. Like, Christian Hartman, whatever his name is, Herland or whatever, he seems like he's actually really trying to give you an honest answer. Even though he's not good, he seems like he's not really trying to bullshit you and, griff, get into the hype or something. He seems like he's really trying to give you an honest answer. Adam Does Movies, like he has huge mistakes where he like acting like a certain movie's awful and then praise a really bad movie. I never make that mistake. And that's something like he'll trash a movie and then say Babylon was amazing or something. And Jeremy, he's just an idiot, but I can quickly see what his review is. And sometimes, when certain things got hyped, like the Jurassic Worlds, he will like say that these movies suck, or I think maybe all the Godzillas, he'll say they suck. I don't really know, but I remember, yeah, he has sometimes, been that person to do that. I don't watch the Chris guy, I never do. Have done videos about him, but I actually don't watch him. But around there, like IGN or something, I'll get somewhat. But like I said, IGN calling 28 years later amazing. But the point is, they're very flawed people, and I do know if I bought movies if I only it has select one of them, and I can only buy movies that only they like this specific person likes, my Blu-ray collection would look like shit. The people would just look at me like I'm a weirdo buying dumb movies, just buying movies. And when I buy movies, usually when I see people's Blu-ray collection back then, I'll be like, it's more like, why would you buy this? It's just, and then it's like, a mess because you're just buying movies like all the Child's Play and blah, blah, blah. You can go, my Blu-ray collection is on this channel. I don't buy movies that suck. I do have a couple questionable ones, not questionable to social media, but probably to people in the real world, or movies that will just sit there. There's a reason why I got rid of all my Disney Marvel movies. I had at least 11 of them to make the story make sense that were actually, decent enough to watch. But I always knew every single time I bought them, no one would ever ask to watch them. And one time when I was doing videos with my girl, I asked, do I have any movies that suck? She said, yeah. And I was like, what movies? And then right before she answered, I was like, oh, yeah. She goes, see your Disney Marvel movies. Yeah. And I finally got rid of them, but certain movies are questionable that, and I'm about to talk about this title in a second. Like Seven or Heat. Heat I got because of a good bank robbery shootout, but it's not all that, but still, and movie Seven, I'm thinking about getting rid of that because I always knew that would just sit there. It's been sitting there. No one would ever ask to watch that. I gave that movie to someone to watch it to see if I should get in 4K. And still to this day, they have never tried to give it a chance. And they always give my movie a chance. I don't know why. I don't know if that movie's lost. So I just haven't really been worried about it. But and the last, there's actually two more is, what was it? I know one in my head, but I had another one in my head too. Oh yeah, I got rid of that Ninja Turtle Secret of the Ooze months ago, about a year ago. I was showing a kid, maybe he think he wanted to see Super Shredder, and I felt myself bored, and I was thinking, why did I buy this movie? And then it started coming back to me, I actually didn't like the second one when I was a kid. I mean, I enjoyed it, certain parts of it, but I knew it was, I didn't know why until as an older, I realized, yeah, it is goofy compared to the first one, And the last one is I do have Justice League 2017 because the story, as I said before, and I'll get into the title in a second. The story I said before is after Zack Snyder cut, I was like in a store and I saw it and I was going to buy it because I was like, I didn't want to buy it, but I think it's so interesting to see how studios would change something like, Justice League Zack Snyder's cut is so great. And, I meant to say good, but I decided to put great because I really like it. I think it's my 12th favorite movie. And then they'll give you something and they'll bring out some kind of crap like that for the Justice League 2017. It's very interesting to me. But I actually, when I was walking up there, it was stuck between the seat and the, where the cart is, and the seat was pulled up, and I was thinking maybe I could walk out with this and not pay for it, and I actually stole that. So, anyways, to make sure it's clear, make sure something's clear. When I review this movie, I will on the movie I think of I should compare it to, even though I know they're totally different movies, is Man of Steel. Because it's not going to be Batman v Superman. Batman v Superman is in my top 10, not the extended version. I do not like the extended version at all. But yes, so, and the thing is, it's not going to be Batman v Superman because it would make me feel like there is something wrong of my thought process to be amazed by a superhero movie and enjoy it that much to put in my top 10 favorite movies. And somehow this one's going to beat it, where I'm like, oh man, I got to put this in my top 10. No, I always say it's very dumb to put a superhero movie in your top 10 favorite movies. But Batman v Superman, I love it, and so that's why it's the emotion. I feel like going over it, the thrill on certain things. When I'm talking about even Zack Snyder's cut for Justice League. So it will be compared with Man of Steel to make it clear. I said through my videos, Man of Steel is just okay to me. I know they're very different movies, but I figure if I wanted to compare it with something, it's going to have to be Man of Steel. Like, which one's better? Man of Steel is not even in my top 20 favorite movies. I mean, yeah. So, what makes it in my, I want to explain something like, how my movies are, as in, but that's the point is I just want to make sure it's clear. It will be versing Man of Steel. But how my movies are is I meant to had this, but I have a huge brain fart explaining like how my movies are is all my movies, because this is supposed to go with when I was talking about the reviewers. Any movie in my Blu-ray collection, so I'm kind of going back. That's why I mixed up, because it's supposed to be brought way before then. But there are movies that I'll say, hey, you guys want to watch this? People will be like, yeah. So movies in my top 10 favorite movies, like I really like Batman v Superman or whatever is in my top 10. I don't see a doubt of, bringing this up and, someone want to watch a movie and bring this up and like say they've seen all the movies and I bring up one of these movies up and they will say, and I said, let's watch this. It's like, yeah, sure. So that's what makes it top 10 of the rewatch value of wanting to rewatch it. If I say something like Terminator, say, let's watch Terminator. You're like, what? And that's why I talk about like people in Warner School who keep talking about Star Wars and Blade Runner. I would never mention that to someone. They'll just look. It's just like we won't be on the same page, So that's why I said I just get weirded out when you get these reviewers talking about Blade Runner still and Star Wars and Jaws and all that. It's like no, I'm good. So I can't think of any other ones, but like this, I'm saying it's the rewatch value and still being entertaining. So that is how my things go. The movies, like I said. If I wouldn't buy, whatever's on YouTube, I would just have a weird ass collection of just dumb shit. I even done via responses to big YouTubers' Blu-ray collection, and a lot of times they say the line is, I haven't watched this movie yet, but I bought it anyway. So they do that kind of crap. I don't do that. No movies in my Blu-ray collection suck, but I did explain the little small problems I might have in there. But anyways, I gotta go. But it will be compared with Man of Steel. Man of Steel is just okay to me. I do have Black Adam. Black Adam has his. I can't really call it cringe, but I said my biggest problem with Black Adam. Everyone I know in the world enjoyed Black Adam, but it has that. I'm just going over DC real quick a little bit. Black Adam, it has that kid when he's doing that speech. It's just like it almost sounds like someone dubbed over his voice and spoke for him because the voice of him wasn't good. Like he just felt like he's not even yelling out or and it kind of felt like the Mummy of them fighting those people coming out of the ground. And I feel like Black Adam is how do you say the ending did not beat Superman's ending fight, the final kill. I'm talking about the way Black Adam beat the devil guy. I don't care what his name is. It wasn't better than the way Superman beat Zod, or the way Doomsday was defeated, or the way Wonder Woman defeated Ares. So it was lamer ending to that, So the ending does really matter. The last, final strike, or whatever you want to call it. So it was missing that too. So otherwise, it was actually pretty fine. But it's just that kid had some questionable scenes. And oh yeah, and that electrical guy who comes in and starts punching. Well, that was the whole, the mommy thing of dead coming in. I think he comes with a skateboard. I don't remember. Starts hitting him. And it's like, I'm not supposed to die because I'm supposed to die by being electrocuted or something. But besides that, Black Adam's, everyone I know enjoyed that. And I do have Aquaman. I did not like Aquaman 1 because I didn't like how Kitty and CGI turn off your brain. Not CGI, but popcorn flick. And then after Zack Snyder cut, I was like, wait, maybe it'll work. And then the second one came out to Aquaman 2. And one thing is, I want to say one more thing about Aquaman 1 is I didn't like the way it ended. I just thought it was a lame ending, or I thought it was not a real ending. And then now it feels like Aquaman 1, this feels like a part 1 to a part 2 because it goes off of that one. And I think that is an actual an actual ending for Aquaman 2. So yeah, I don't know. I do like Wonder Woman, definitely. The first one. And I think that's all I got out of that DC universe. I might be missing one, but I think that's it. Of course, I have the Zack Snyder cut. And I think that's it. And that's where I stopped at. But that's it. But it will be compared with Man of Steel than anything else. So, I just want to make sure it's clear, I'm not a Man of Steel fan. I'm not really a Superman fan, but it'll compare which one's better. And like I said, Man of Steel is not even in my top 20 favorite movies. But it's just to make sure it's clear. I know the internet might be saying, but Terminator 2, no one would actually rewatch those. No one. They would rather watch Terminator Dark Fate. One thing is, I just don't do it. But some of these people who are reviewing Superman, sometimes I want to film and say, people, these are a bunch of single dudes. So you can't really, it's just like weird to want to say, hey, okay, I want to take your guys' word for it. And they just seem like, it's like there's 3 dudes going out doing an out of trailer reaction. And I'm like, no girls. Whatever. But I'm just saying, you can clearly tell, like, I don't need to see their hand to know that they're single. That's the thing. It's just the fact that I don't need to see. I just knew that they were single. And it would just feel like, I don't know. I'm just, all right, peace.